Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And it is the first Wednesday of the month, therefore, it is Tales and Tunes, hosted by none other than Justine Hamir, sitting out in Woodbridge in Suffolk in the snow. Uh, Justine, over to you.
Thank you
I've
very much.
Uh, I, 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 I can do a poem early, and then I have to disappear.
Lovely.
Can I say what's coming up? Not on Friday is Norman Perrin on 6 o'clock on his
Lovely.
tales of on um, stories for children of all ages, one
No.
to 3,000. Um, so, Justine, I now give you your show.
Thank you very much. And I will remind everyone about the lovely Norman at the end. So, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. I think we're all evening where we are at the moment, but if you're somewhere else and you're not evening, welcome. Um, this is Tales and Tunes, which is an evening of storytelling and poetry and music and whatever else you want to share. And this is our first one of 2026. So, welcome, everybody. We always start with a little bit of what I call extreme storytelling, which means I am going to make up a story entirely generated from your ideas on the spot to start us off this evening. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you for three things before we start, and then I shall start telling the story, and then when I need an idea, you can put it in the chat or shout it out, whatever you want to do. So as those of you who have been before know, the first thing I need you to tell me is who you would like your story to be about. Who will be our protagonist, our hero, our heroine for today's story? Let's take a few suggestions and then see where we go.
I think an Arctic whale.
An Arctic whale. Okay. Suggestion number one, an Arctic whale. How are we feeling about an Arctic whale? We happy with that? Any
Yeah,
advance
why
on
not?
Arctic whale?
Why
Yeah?
not?
Okay. So the hero of our story is an Arctic whale. Lovely. The next thing we need to decide is, what does our Arctic whale want more than anything in the world? What is the journey the story will take him on? What's he going to get, or what does he need? Any and all ideas are welcome.
Greenland?
Greenland. He wants the whole of Greenland.
Oh, why not?
Why not?
Lovely. So the Arctic whale wants to rule Greenland. I feel like he's got a better claim on it than some people, right?
Yes, I thought you would say that.
All right. And the next thing we need to decide, I have a feeling where this might go, but surprise me. Who or what tries to stop our Arctic whale having Greenland?
An orange blob.
An orange blob.
From outer space.
An orange blob from outer space. Lovely. Okay. Let's see how we go. All right. So, once upon a time, way up in the Arctic Circle, in the seas around Greenland, there was an Arctic whale. And this Arctic whale had a name. What was his name, lovelies and gentle humans? What should we call our Arctic whale?
Donald.
Donald.
Oh no!
He was a good Donald, don't worry. So Donald the Arctic whale lived in the seas around Greenland, and he very much enjoyed his time there. But he had noticed that there were things on the land near the sea that weren't as he wanted them to be. He was worried about the seas in which he swam. And he thought, I'm not sure the humans are really looking after this place as well as they should. I think maybe it's time the animals took it back. Maybe someone like me, as fine a creature as I am, maybe I could be the ruler of Greenland, and I would rule it peacefully, and I would rule it well, and I would make sure that all of the animals and all of the plants and even the humans were well looked after. But the problem for Donald, our Arctic whale, was that, well, he was a whale and he was in the sea. And he had no way of telling anyone who was currently in charge of Greenland that he actually wanted to be in charge of it instead. So, if you were Donald, the Arctic whale, and you desperately wanted to rule Greenland so it could be peaceful and happy for thousands of years to come, where would you start? Who would you ask advice from? Is there a creature in the sea that we could go and ask for some wisdom?
need to have a
I-
creature with whom he could communicate, and
Yeah.
that would mean access to a universal translator, perhaps.
So we're going to have to find a universal translator first of all.
Yeah, I know.
Fabulous. Okay.
Well,
So
there happens to be a porpoise that hangs around Greenland that is a universal translator and can get quite near the shore without
Yes.
Okay.
causing too many problems.
That's what you call a multi-porpoise.
A multi-porpoise, yes.
a multi-purpose. Fortunately. So Donald, our Arctic whale, knew that he needed to solve his communication problem. And so he went closer to the sea, closer to the land. Not so close that he drowned himself. He was a very clever whale. And he found the porpoise. He found his porpoise. There are so many gags I could do. He found a porpoise. And this porpoise had learnt from the very babelfish himself. The babelfish that those of you who know the mythology will know that the babelfish can translate anything. But since we don't currently have them on this planet, he had taught this porpoise how to translate from whale into any other language, any other animal, any other plant, any other human. So the Arctic whale went to the porpoise and he said to the porpoise, well, here's the thing, porpoise. And the porpoise translated his words instantly. He said, here's the thing. What I need is to be able to communicate to the humans that it's okay. They can relax. The animals will take care of Greenland now. The porpoise said, well, I can tell them that, but I don't know that they'll listen. You're going to need maybe, I don't know, you're going to need something else just than the fact that you want to. So what else do we think Donald the Arctic whale might need in order to communicate his message and become the ruler of Greenland? He's got a means of speaking, but we need more than that.
I think you need to guarantee that all whales, as they get towards the end of their life, will rock up onto the shore so they can be repurposed into such things as the Inuits need.
So, Donald, the Arctic whale, said, we believe in the circle of life here in the sea, and we know that we want our bodies to be used long after our existence. So in return for the humans handing power of Greenland to us, we will bring our dead and our dying to your shores so that they may be used to sustain the humans. The porpoise said, that is an awfully good deal and quite self-sacrificing. I'm quite impressed with you. Well, I will go to the village elder, the nearest one on this land, and I will get them to pass it on. So the porpoise, wait, hang on. I'm going to do my best porpoise. In my head, this is a seal, but I'm still going to call it a porpoise because that's what you call it. Okay. And the porpoise went, would you like to be seals with me, everybody? You ready? Things that you don't do. Ready? Here we go. Flip, 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 flip. And he flipped all the way up the shore until he reached the village elders. And the village elders, this is the human village elders. They said, porpoise, what news do you bring of the sea? Because they knew that the porpoise would translate everything. And the porpoise said, I have a message from Donald the Arctic whale. And he says that it's really time for you humans to relax, to sit back, to not worry about running things, that the whales and the creatures of the sea will take over. Well, the elder of the village thought this was a very good idea. He was not particularly pleased with how his government was running things, and he thought maybe it is time for us to just chill and let the animals sort it all out. And so he took his message to the elders of Greenland, which were some way away. The porpoise was kind of waiting on the beach, and our poor old Arctic whale was still in the sea. But we'll come back to him, don't worry. He took his message to the elders of Greenland, to the great parliament in Greenland. And he said before parliament, I have a message from the water. Donald, the Arctic whale, would like to rule our kingdom of Greenland. And the whales will make sure that we are well tended to by bringing their dying and dead to the shore so that they may be repurposed. Well, the elders of Greenland thought, that sounds great. We've been working really hard running this place. We can hand it over to the animals. And just as they were about to sign the treaty that said Greenland would be looked after by the animals from now on, suddenly there was a flash of lightning. Up in the sky above, the sky turned dark and they could see a laser beam coming down through Parliament House in Greenland into the floor. And down in that laser beam, if you've ever seen Close Encounters, down in that beam of light, there came a great orange blob. And the blob landed in the middle of Parliament. And the blob, from a mouth you couldn't tell where, went, no! No, Donald the Arctic whale, I will not let this government sign this treaty. I shall be in charge of Greenland. I want everything there is in Greenland. Well, all of the elders in Parliament were terrified of the orange blob. They'd never seen such a thing. It had come from outer space. It seemed the strangest thing they'd ever seen in their life. And so they sent a message back via the village elder to the porpoise, to the Arctic whale, to say, Donald, we can't possibly let you because there is now a great orange blob in Parliament that is taking over everything. Even we aren't in control, so we can't pass it on to you. Well, if you were Donald the Arctic whale and suddenly your plans, having been so close to fruition, were thwarted by a great orange blob from outer space, how would you overcome this? Whose help would you need? What would you do? Where shall we start, lovelies and gentle humans? It's a strange problem that none of us have ever faced before.
I think
right.
what you do. Sorry, I'll give way to whoever was speaking.
I don't know who was speaking then.
I don't know. Well, I'll go back then.
Go.
I think
Go, John.
what you need to do is get in touch with a toy manufacturer,
Uh-huh.
a toy manufacturer who can take the orange blob and put it in containers and sell it as slime. Because I know from my alter ego doing Father Christmas that the slime is something that many children request at Christmas time. So
That is very true. So,
Yeah.
Donald the Arctic whale went down deep into the depths of the ocean, meeting with all his whale friends, and he explained the situation to them. And he said, now the thing is, from what the porpoise has told me, this great orange blob is just slimy and gooey and quite interesting to play with. So what I think we need to do is we need to get somebody who can destroy that orange blob, put it in little pieces so that it can't harm anyone. It will just be a harmless toy. Now, fortunately, again, those of you who know the Babelfish will know that the dolphins have a contact with outer space because that's where they came from originally. So the Arctic whales went to the dolphins, and the dolphins called up their colleagues in outer space. And in outer space, where the blob had come from, there was indeed a toy maker who had dealt with many different blobs in many different situations over the years, and had, without anyone knowing, sent all those blobs in little tubs down to the earth to play for children to play with. So this is what the toy maker did. He came down above Parliament. In Parliament, the orange blob was spreading out and going over every single person. And the elders would go, get off me, you're horrible and slimy. But fortunately, the toy maker that was the friend of the dolphins, there was another beam, a beautiful green beam of light. And down into that green beam of light came the dolphin toy maker. I've decided it's a dolphin now. The dolphin toy maker, who was able to move all his fins in a way we had never seen on earthly dolphins before. And when he came down, he stood in the middle of the Parliament. He took out his great slime-making machine, which he had used on many such slimes over the years. And, we need a magic word that's going to turn our slime into these little things. What should we use magic word? Just hold
legality.
Legality.
Yeah.
So the dolphin toy maker held his machine up high and said, legality! And with that, the orange slime started shaking and went, oh no, I'm breaking into pieces. And suddenly, instead of one big orange blob, there were lots of tiny, like bouncy balls, bouncing all over the place. And the dolphin toy maker was ready. He had a big machine that sucked up all of the little orange slime balls and put them in little pots and even wrapped them into tiny parcels. And then with another great cry of legality, all of those little pots were wrapped in fine paper and sent to Santa's helpers around the world to be ready for Christmas next year. And once the orange blob was gone, the elders of Greenland were only too happy to finish signing that treaty. And the power to look after Greenland was passed over to the Arctic whales and the creatures that they knew. And as far as I know, Greenland then lived peacefully and happily ever after. The end.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all
Excellent.
your joining.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Sure thing.
I love that. And thank you for anyone who got all the Douglas Adams references in there. I couldn't not, could I?
Oh, you couldn't not. Yeah.
Childhood spent reading far too much Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Lovely stuff. Okay, so we will probably go round in the order that people came in, which I think was David. Actually, John, you needed to go first because you needed to go, didn't you?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I might
Needs to go.
have
Yeah.
to disappear any minute. I
Lovely.
mean, I might have to. I might be able to stay for the whole program, but I very much doubt it. So
Well, we'll
I'm
get you
going
in
to.
first. So
Need
if
to
we
be-
do John
I'm
first,
going
and
to.
then David, and then Keith, and then Pelagie, assuming you're all wanted to tell, yeah? And
I
then
think I
anyone
might
else.
just do
Go
might
for
just do
it.
a couple of poems.
That would be lovely, my
great.
dear. I'm going to spotlight you. but
I
if
think
anyone
I've done
doesn't-
these before in this program, but it doesn't matter.
It's important to do your greatest hits.
No, this is it's recent. Colours. I'll nail my colours to the mast of any vessel with a cargo of love, justice, and equality bound for utopia. I'll join the crew as deckhand, captain, boatswain, stoker, or midshipman. Put my back in hoisting sails, stoking the boiler, or any of the 1,001 tasks it takes to keep a ship afloat and on course. And while I know there'll be many storms to weather and pirates to repel, with only the stars to guide us and faith that a better world is possible, I'm confident our journey will not be in vain. That'll be the one.
I love that one.
And yeah, I just got to. Oh God, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. And this is for. This is for Justine because if I'm doing poems, she kills me if I don't do this one. It's called Snowflake. It's for all our lefty scum out there. We seem to be so they get new insults for us every day on Facebook and social media. Proud to be a snowflake. I'm proud to be a snowflake. Actually, this has probably got more meaning in East Anglia at the moment than it had when I wrote it. You're all experiencing this. Proud to be a snowflake, unique, an intricate part of the whole, forever changing. I'm reborn over and over. Tread on me, and I'll stick on the sole of your boot and become a puddle in your house. Sweep me and my friends away, and my close ally, the wind, will pile us up further down the road, attack us with heat, and we'll rise up and wait for months to fall on you. I'm proud to be a snowflake, knowing people will dream of me like Papa Noel at Christmas. Ironic, isn't it, that white supremacists fling it at us as an insult. And finally,
Yay.
this is okay, how am I doing here? Colours, invoice, Stafford quote, application for post. Yeah.
How many tabs have you got open, John?
No. I think as this program is being hosted from East Anglia, I'll do estuary living.
Yay.
Right. I wrote this before the Channel Tunnel existed, so shows how long I've been. I used to sit down at Felixstowe at the viewing point, looking out across the Orwell and where the ferries go in and out, and I'd sit and write. Used to sit in the front of my van. I had a caravan down there, and I'd sit in the front of my van in the car park there, and I'd use it as my office. So I wrote a whole book of children's poetry there in this one. I, an island person who's hardly been to sea, sit in dread of tunnels and bridges. Gaze at a place where the red light district is defined by buoys and derricks. They signal a safe passage to the ferry as it rounds the point, 7 hours from Holland. To the Finnish carrier as she bursts into an activity of docking to the feeder vessel laden with containers for God knows where. I, a spectator, now see the lights on the foreshore as if they burn only for lovers, poets, and chip-eating families taking a last look at the place where cultures end. I've been there to the dark side, the illuminations, waited in line with my papers for 40 boxes to clear customs while a factory in Dudley froze. The ships tonight leave almost as fast as the ferries, have large letters painted on their sides, corporation owned. They pool their profits with breweries and chain stores. The city knows nothing of seabirds, of the ghosts of mariners who crowd my memory. I only saw my father's ship leave once. I stood on the sand with my mother as the fleet sailed. It is an image without time. I've waited by the radio for the news of a friend who was found 5 miles of current to the north. They had breached within minutes of the land with his catch. In the 19th century, we sailed from Harwich. I know this from records, a story waiting for its flesh. And I sit, an estuary's width from the tail, tumble back and forth across the centuries, listen to the tongues of the globe, watch a rat scuttle across the broken concrete and shingle, listen to a ship's siren, and know why I like it on the edge. And that'll do.
Thank you, John. That was awesome. Oh, I always love it when you do poetry. And thank you for doing Snowflake while it was snowy. Always makes me happy. All right. Next up, I believe we have David. David, are you ready to tell us a tale?
Yeah. I also sing as well as read poetry and stories. So,
Lovely.
I would, yeah, if only I'd have realised I'd be following East Anglia, I would have, I did have something that would have fitted nicely with that, but I haven't got it with me at
That's
this moment.
absolutely fine. I'm so
No
pleased you
problem.
sing as well. We don't have enough tunes to go with our tales, so we
Right.
need more
Well,
singers.
I'm going to take a slightly spooky theme
Lovely.
loosely. Firstly, a song which has a very short story with it, and then after that, a recitation of a kind.
Fabulous. Look forward
Okay,
to it.
so
Take it away.
the song was written by a guy called Bob Pegg, who was very active on the folk scene in the very early 70s with a band called Mr. Fox, who were absolutely tremendous. They did a lot of songs based on tales of the Yorkshire Dales, and this is one such tale. It's a tale of the hanged man, basically of a man who was hiking with a party of walkers, and he got lost and separated from the party on the descent from the moor, and basically came to a rather gruesome end. His body was discovered a few weeks after the party had left the area by a local farmer in a rather interesting position, and the title gives a clue. Now let's see. When I was a young man, I used to dress so neat. Many hearts beat faster as I walked down the street. And then as I grew older, the women had their fill, till the only heart that beat was mine as I came down the hill. Walk in a valley that never saw the sun, step by the stones where the icy waters run, stand in the church where the village choir once sang, and run along the pathway where the dead man used to hang. You take the road you took before, the one by the rocks where the river leaves the moor. and I'll take the road where the hill and forest meet, where the fallen flowers hide the stones that wait to trip your feet. Walk in a valley that never saw the sun. Step by the stones where the icy waters run. Stand in a church where the village choir once sang, and run along the pathway where the dead man used to hang. The trees of the forest, the rocks all around, they saw me swing my haversack as I raced gaily down. The badger in the bushes, the fox in his lair, heard me give a whoop and cry as I fell through the air. Walk in the valley that never saw the sun. Step by the stones where the icy waters run. Stand in a church where the village choir once sang, and run along the pathway where the dead man used to hang. Waking in the forest beneath the spreading pine, I saw my body hanging like a shirt upon a line. Vines crept up my fingers where they had come to rest, and in my open mouth wild bees came to build their nest. Walk in a valley that never saw the sun. Step by the stones where the icy waters run. Stand in the church where the village choir once sang, and run along the pathway where the dead man used to hang. Then many ages later, the village people came, took me from my resting place, tied up my remains, and in an old sheep blanket they bore me down the hill. My corpse is in a far-off grave, but I remain here still. Walk in a valley that never saw the sun. Step by the stones where the icy waters run. Stand in a church where the village choir once sang, and run along the pathway where the dead man used to hang.
That's very creepy.
Yeah, the
It's
tale
the
of
bees
the
that got
hangman.
me. Like, well,
Oh, yeah, yeah. And in case you think you've probably heard it before, this is something else very spooky, but on a completely different plane.
yay.
Yeah, the expectation.
Go for it.
Déjà vu. A rhyme. It is impossible to experience déjà vu for the first time. I reckon the first time déjà vu happens is the second. Déjà vu. A rhyme. It is impossible to experience déjà vu for the first time. I reckon the first time déjà vu happens is the second. I started with verse 2. Verse 1 must stay unlistened, because the first time you say déjà vu, it isn't. But then again, to get a little more immersed, you can't experience déjà vu twice because you didn't experience it first. To recap, déjà vu, a rhyme. I know what you're thinking. This is not the first time. 3 times now, and still it isn't true. How do you qualify? What do you have to do? How do you climb this mountain? Or you may think it just a hillock. You may think, this man is a philosopher. You may think, this man is a pillock. I've been called a pillock before, strange but true. When I hear the word pillock, to me it is déjà vu, a rhyme. It is impossible to experience déjà vu for the first time. I reckon the first time déjà vu happens is the second. Then again, and this is interesting, there are those who say déjà vu is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Then they say it again, and at the risk of being a bore, if you go back to the first time déjà vu happened, you'll think, that's happened before. Déjà vu, a rhyme. It is impossible to experience déjà vu for the first time. I reckon the first time déjà vu happens is the second. We should explore the supernatural, put knowledge in place of mere feeling. Edinburgh University has a chair for the paranormal, but they can't get it down off the ceiling. Too many gaps in our understanding. Is time travel a thing of the past? What was the best thing before sliced bread? How long does this poem last? Are Blackpool hallucinations real? But, to return us, as to an old friend, déjà vu, the end. Déjà vu, the end.
Is it definitely the end? Thank you. That was awesome.
That was written by Les Barker.
Of course.
Of
Beautiful
course.
stuff. Thank you, David. That was great. Okay, next in, I think, was Keith. Keith, do you have a tale
Yeah.
for us? I shall
Yes, I do
spotlight
have
you,
something.
and then you can unspotlight yourself.
Yeah, I'll unspot myself. Right, gallery.
I like your
Yeah.
clouds today. You normally have
Yeah.
landscape, but now it's skyscape.
Well, it's the beginning of the year. This is something that I often will share about the beginning of time. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, but the earth was barren, no form of life, under a raging ocean and covered with darkness. But the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then God said, I command a dome appear over the sky to separate the water from above it and the water below it. And God called the dome sky. Evening came and morning, and that was the second day. And then God said, I command that the water under the sky be gathered together into one place so that dry ground might appear. And that's what happened. God made all the dry ground. And he also created the ocean. And so there was dry ground and there was oceans. And then God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then he said to the dry ground, produce all kinds of plants, all kinds of vegetation, fruit trees and grain. And that's what happened. God made all the plants that grow on the earth and all the corn and everything that grows. And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then God said, I command that lights appear in the sky to mark out the special days, seasons, and years, that they shine upon the earth. That's what happened. God made two powerful lights, the greater one to rule the day and the lesser to rule the night, and he also made the stars. He made them shine upon the earth to mark out the special days, seasons, and years. And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then God said, I command that the seas and the oceans be full of living creatures, all kinds of fish, and that birds fly over all the earth. And that's what happened. God made all the fish of the sea and all the giant sea monsters and every kind of bird. And he blessed these sea creatures and said, fill the whole of the oceans. And he blessed the birds and said, have lots of chicks and fly over all the earth. And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then God said, I command that the earth produce all kinds of animals, both wild and tame, that they live upon the earth. And that's what happened. God made all the animals that live on the earth. And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is good. And then God said, now let us make humans to be like ourselves. And that's what happened. God made humans, both male and female. And he set them on the earth to have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and all the animals that live on the land. And he blessed the humans and said, now have lots of children and look after all the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and all the animals that live on the earth, both wild and tame. He said, look after them and take care of them. Now I have given green plants for everything that lives for you, and all the fruit trees and grain and all the... And God looked at what he'd done and said, this is very good. Evening came a morning, and that was the sixth day. And that's how God made the heavens and the earth. Now by the seventh day he had finished all his work, so he rested, and he blessed the seventh day and made it special, because on that day he finished all his work. And that's how God made the universe and all the heavens and the earth.
Yay. Thank you. Good way to start
That's-
the year. Start at the beginning. John, you're muted.
That is so much simpler than the Finnish version with the Calavella, which is a very complicated
Oh,
creation
goodness, yes.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Thank you, Keith.
Beautiful stuff, Keith. Pelagie, you are next on my list. Are you happy to share?
Yeah, I've also got something a bit spooky. I've got a poem, and then which has a bit of a story to it, and then I've got a story.
Fabulous. That sounds wonderful. Away you go.
Oh, thank you. Okay, this is called The Ghost in Clapham. My dad's been dead these 30 years, but I saw him outside a fruit and veg shop in Clapham. I was by the crossing, waiting for the lights to change, and he was there. On the other side, his back to me. I knew it was him. There was a cardigan he wore on Saturdays, khaki and faded, with leather patches on the sleeves. The road was busy, and the cars and buses were streaming past. I pressed the button again. Hurry up! There's my dad. My dead dad come back. I wasn't scared, but sort of impatient. I wanted to see if it were really him. He looked so real. The balding patch, the same square back, the cardigan, the old man jeans. Then I thought, Oh, come on. Are you mad or what? Why on earth would my dad come back as a ghost in Clapham? Buying squashy plums opposite the underground? He was a businessman, not a derelict. He got his shirts made at Jermyn Street. He bought cheese in Harrods. He thought business class was slumming it. He said, aim high and never accept second best. And then I thought, this is a sign. He died at 60, burned out by a stressful life and a fast pace. This is a sign. Calm down. Enjoy the Saturdays. Work is not everything. Remember the good things, like fresh apples and favourite cardigans. I mustn't work so hard or I'll go nuts. I must enjoy unexpected things, like cheap fruit in Clapham. And then I was sad, and I felt the tears down my cheek. This was my dad, come back after 30 years. Isn't that what we all want when someone dies? To see them once again. Just to see them once. To say, what did I want to say? Dad, Dad, why did you die? You never saw my life. You never saw two of my sons. You missed my grown-up life. No, that wasn't it. Why should I scold him now? The last thing he said to me was, I've had enough of pain and illness and the wait for death. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to go. He wanted to hang on until Christmas. And we would have the best one ever. The one we would all remember because it was his last. And all the presents we would have. And all our family round the table, the way he wanted us to be. And we would all go to midnight mass. He died in September, on one of those early autumn days when the sky was cobalt blue and the leaves were tinged with gold, and the last petals were falling off the climbing rose. I took my baby son to the park. We sat there and watched the clouds. So, Dad, maybe it wasn't you. When I crossed the road, he had gone, the man in the khaki cardigan. But I like to think that you came back to make me stop. And now I never accept second best. I don't work too hard. I have time for Saturdays and clouds and squashy plums and ghosts outside a fruit and veg shop in Clapham. And that was by Lucy English. That's the first one.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Oh, a little bit tearful now.
Well,
That's
this one
fabulous.
isn't tearful, but it's a bit weird.
Weird is also good.
Yeah. It is the frozen time, the dark time. An old man with eyes golden as Baltic amber moves across the snow, well wrapped in furs and reindeer hide. His movements slow, deliberate, ursine. His hair and beard shaggy, unkempt. His once dark hair now grizzled, grey around the temples. The cold seems not to trouble him as he gazes upwards, watching the aurora's sinuous dance. His grandmother told him such lights were the souls of young girls, maidens who died untimely, before they knew a husband's love or nursed a child. She said only a fool would seek them out. In his youth, he followed the reindeer herds, crossing vast empty spaces, paying no heed to lines drawn on a map, artificial boundaries imposed by strangers, decreed by those with no knowledge of this unforgiving land. They say he sat with the shaman and learned their secrets. But then they say a lot of things about old Ivor. Old Ivor walks in the blue light of a winter morning, treading on fresh snow, his breath condensing in the cold air, past the silent frozen fountain of the waterfall, towards the poor settlement where he goes to trade. In the marketplace, logs burn in braziers, melting the surrounding snow, forming muddy puddles. He buys a reindeer steak cooked over charcoal, burned on the outside, still bloody within. "Will you take a cup of something?" the woman asks. "Something to keep out the cold?" "Aye, why not?" She hands him a cup of the raw spirit of the region, distilled from who knows what. He drinks it down. After the initial heat comes the pain, like a worm gnawing an empty belly. "Another cup," she offers. "No, thank you, one is enough." His business done, he shambles away, back to his home at the edge of the forest. Built of logs, it has only one room. It's surprisingly clean and well kept. Even as a young man, Ivor was self-contained, apart. Preferring solitude, he learned to do things for himself. Now he will settle down to wait for the sun's return. When spring comes, living will be easier. Once streams are released from winter's frozen embrace, he will fish again. Disregarding stings, he will seek out bees' nests, sharp-nosed for the smell of honey. Later, he will collect whortleberries, rejoicing in their sweetness. The white nights of summer bring restlessness. Ivor rarely sleeps. Prowling the forests, he wanders further from his home. The nights are sticky now with unaccustomed heat. Lice trouble him, so he sheds his clothes. Naked, he bathes in a fast-flowing stream. Sunlight catches water droplets shaken from his hair and beard, turning them into diamonds in the air. And so he begins to shed the veneer of humanity. Now he remembers the days of his youth, days when he followed the herds and sat with the shaman. Now he knows what he must do. His senses change. Smells become sharper, more distinct. His hair thickens, covering his nakedness. With a roar of pain, or maybe release, he drops to the ground. Now, on all fours, he starts to run. Clumsily at first, but then with more assurance. He is free. He is complete. Next day, a hunter finds some tracks by a stream. Naked hands and feet printed in soft mud. Too big to be a child's. Curious, he follows them, noticing small changes. He follows them until they become the tracks of a bear. That was Old Ivor by Nicola Carter. Thank you.
Lovely. Oh, I do love a good transformation tale. It's fabulous. Oh, thank you so much, Peggy. That was lovely. John has to go. Goodbye, John.
Thanks
Bye,
for
John.
staying for mine.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
See you too.
Bye.
See you next month.
We'll see you next
Well,
time.
yeah, or come to one of our worldwide story rounds.
Yes. Do you know when the next one is, John? I don't know if it's up yet.
Yeah, it is up there, but I will.
I
just
will
sec.
look. Don't worry.
I've got it here. No, I haven't.
2
Right,
weeks' time. It's a week on
I
Sunday.
have.
Week
We've just had
Sunday,
one, and there's
It's
next,
week
then
on
there's,
Sunday.
yeah, week on Sunday.
And
Yeah.
it's 6
Lovely.
o'clock in the evening. Thank you. Oh, I've got it in the
18th.
diary right next to me. 18th. Yeah, that'd be the
18th.
18th.
Lovely. I will remind everyone at the end. Remind myself as well.
Yeah,
Lovely.
'cause,
Well,
anyone can come on, tell a story or a poem on that.
mhm.
Right.
Bye.
Off. Bye, John. So we have time to go around again. If you've got other tales and tunes to share, I would love to hear them. Keith, or actually David was first, but my order is going wrong. David, do you have something else you can share with us?
Well, I do, yeah.
Fabulous.
Would you like a song or would you like a recitation?
I like a song. I just want more songs.
Okay, sure. Yeah, this
Let me
is a
just put that.
strange little tale as well. Let's just see if I can get a pitch for this. The soldier came knocking upon the Queen's door. He said, I am not fighting for you anymore. The Queen knew she'd seen his face someplace before, and slowly she let him inside. He said, I've watched your palace up here on the hill, and I've wondered who's the woman for whom we all kill. But I'm leaving tomorrow, and you can do what you will. Only first, I am asking you why. Down the long narrow hall he was led, into her room with her tapestries red, and she never once took the crown from her head. She asked him there to sit down. He said, I see you now, and you are so very young, but I've seen more battles lost than I have battles won, and I've got this intuition says it's all for your fun. And now will you tell me why? Well, the young Queen, she fixed him with an arrogant eye. She said, you won't understand, and you may as well not try. But her face was a child, and he thought she would cry. But she closed herself up like a fan. And she said, I've swallowed a secret burning thread. It cuts me inside, and often I've bled. He laid his hand then on top of her head, and he bowed her down to the ground. Tell me, how hungry are you? How weak you must feel, as you are living here alone, and you never revealed. But I won't march again on your battlefield. And he took her to the window to see. And the sun it was gold, though the sky it was grey, and she wanted more than she ever could say. But she knew how it frightened her, and she turned away, and would not look at his face again. And he said, I want to live as an honest man, to get all I deserve and to give all I can, and to love a young woman whom I don't understand. For your highness, your ways are very strange. But the crown it had fallen, and she thought she would break. And she stood there ashamed of the way her heart ached, and she took him to the doorstep, and she asked him to wait. She would only be a moment inside. Out in the distance her order was heard, and the soldier was killed, still waiting for her word. And while the queen went on strangling in the solitude she preferred, the battle continued on. The Queen and the Soldier by Suzanne Vega.
Oh, that was great. Sadly, more and more relevant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. Thank you, Dave. I always have to recover from these things. Okay. Keith, do you have another tale for us?
Well, I have a poem.
Poem is great. I'll
And
spotlight you and you unspotlight you.
yeah, I mentioned before that Alfred Lord Tennyson was born in Somersby, which is about 4 or 5 miles from where I live in the Lincolnshire Wolds. And this is one of his poems, and it really is appropriate for this time of year. It's called Ring Out Wild Bells. Ring out wild bells to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty night. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the new. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that hear, we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause, and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life, with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good. Ring out all shapes of foul disease. Ring out the narrowing lust for gold. Ring out the 1,000 wars of old. Ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kinder hand. Ring out the darkness of the land. Ring in the Christ that is to be.
Thank you, Keith. That was lovely. I do love it when you do Tennyson. It's fabulous. Pelagie, we come back to you. Do you have something else to share?
I've got something else I can do. I didn't think we'd maybe get more than one round, so I'm not really prepared. But
That's
can
entirely fine.
you can either have something which is kind of hopeful, or you can have something funny. Which would you prefer?
Oh, hopeful or funny? I don't know. Like
Come on,
both are
guys.
good.
Let's have a vote.
Let's have a vote. David, Keith, hopeful or funny?
Funny.
Right.
Something
David.
funny.
Votes are for funny.
Yeah, go on then.
Go for it. If we have time, we'll come back for the hopeful one.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, it's not that long. I'm sick of being sweet and charming, uncomplaining, undemanding. I want to tell it how it is. I want to be a bitch. I want to say to my best friend, you look awful in that dress, like a bag of potatoes with a ribbon tied round. And you need to lose weight, about 3 stone. And that husband of yours is a pompous bore, and is having an affair with your sister. Oh, I promised not to say. Excuse me. And she's pregnant. By the way, your children are ugly and not too bright. Can you please stop talking about them all the time? All right? And I want to say to my mum, shut up. Shut up talking about curtains, and that little bit of stuff you found in the market will make a nice cushion. And in the high street, they've just opened up a nice new boutique that sells Jacques Vert. I do not care. And I do not care about Mrs. Watsit's eldest daughter Claire, who did so well and now she's married to a doctor. Mum, can you please say something like, what do you think about global warming and poverty in America? And do you think you've got dementia? And I want to say to my dad, stop giving me tomato plants. They always die. And yes, I do know that if I took the second turning off the B31106, I would get there 20 minutes earlier. And no, I don't want a very useful book on how to mend my fridge. And yes, I do know how to download my photographs. And Dad, why have you not hugged me since I first grew breasts? And why don't you go and see a therapist? And I want to say to my daughter, stop showing me your scribbly drawings. You have no talent, none whatsoever. But that won't stop you getting into art school. So why don't you go now and stop bothering me with your latest, oh, do you think he fancies me? I think he fancies my mate, Lisa. Darling, can you please grow up? I mean, you are 19. Is there nothing in your brain but mobile phones and celebrity must-haves? Please learn to live on what you earn rather than buying handbags. Why don't you go backpacking to Thailand or Goa? Why don't you go anywhere but here? And I want to say to my son, hello, hello, is anybody in there? Apart from MP3s and Tomb Raider level 6. Have you, forgotten how to, have a conversation with somebody whatever? And you smell. I mean, really bad. Like last month's cheese. And can you look at me instead of at your feet? And take that bloody woolly hat off, please. And I want to say to my partner, just do it. Go and buy a Harley and black leathers and work out your midlife crisis. I know, your job's a bore. You're out of shape. You don't know where it's all going. So why don't you fuck off to Bali and find some 22-year-old who's drugged up enough to want to sleep with you? Go swimming naked in the sea. Fry your brains with ecstasy. And I want to look in the mirror and say to myself, what the fuck are you doing? What are you? A one-woman cooking, cleaning, washing, counselling machine. What are you? Fabulous at 50? I don't think so. You're underpaid and overweight. Has it really come to this? The £10 you spent on a top in TK Maxx to make you feel young. And what's worse, you'll never wear it. Why don't you just go down the station and take the next train out? Why don't you find out what you want? Do all those things you said you would. Like learn Spanish, live in Prague, climb Scafell Pike. Wear red trousers and a quirky hat. Shout more. Tell it how it is. I'm going to like being a bitch.
Lovely, thank you.
That was another Lucy English speciality.
Fabulous. I love that idea. Just stop being nice for a while. All right. We have time to go round again. I could tell a tale. I haven't got anything on my head, but I could. Any preferences? Has anyone got anything else to share? Or shall I see what falls out of my head? Taking your vote.
Yeah, I haven't got anything else really, I don't think.
Shall I think of a tale to finish off the night then? I think that sounds good.
Okay.
We shall be small but perfectly formed. Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to tell one that you've all heard before, but I kind of like it. And I told it just before Christmas. It's a very short story, and you probably know it. I'm going to spotlight myself. But it's one of those ones that, like, every time I go back to it, even though it's kind of like really short, I find kind of other things in it. So I'm going to tell it the way I told it at I was hosting an event which was in aid of a women's refuge near where I live. And I've told the story in very different forms, but this was kind of one that I chose to kind of tell then. So here goes. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, in a land where there were hot, flat plains, there lived an old woman. And that old woman, she lived about a couple of miles walk from the nearest river. And every day she would take the 2 pots that she owned down to the river, scoop up water and bring it back, and that would be her water for the day. And one of the pots she had was very smooth, there was no cracks in it, it was perfect. And so it held all of the water for the whole journey. And the other pot that she had, it was a bit old and a bit broken, and it had a few cracks in it, a few holes in it. And so it would often spill half of the water before she got home. And those 2 pots would sit on the shelf at night, and they would talk to each other. And the perfect pot that had no holes and no cracks in it at all would turn to the cracked pot, and it would say, "You're useless, you are. You're no good. You know what, our mistress, our poor old mistress, she's an old woman now. She has to go to the river so many more times than she would have to without you. You know what you should do? You should do the right thing. You should throw yourself off the shelf, smash yourself into 1,000 pieces, and then she can get a new pot, just like me." Well, the cracked pot thought about it. And you know what it's like? If someone tells you you're rubbish often enough, you start to believe it. And so one night, the cracked pot went to the mistress. And the pot said, "Mistress, you need to get rid of me. I'm no good to you. You know, you are old, you're not getting any healthier, and you have to go to the river so much because of me." And the mistress said, "I tell you what, we will go to the river one more time tomorrow. And if after that you still believe as you do, then I will do as you say. I will get rid of you, and I will get another pot to carry my water." And so the next day, the mistress took the cracked pot and the perfect pot and walked down to the river as she did every day. And she scooped up the water out of the river, and she began to walk back. And she'd only got halfway back when the cracked pot had lost nearly all of its water. And it turned to her and it said, "You see, mistress, all my water's nearly gone. You really do need to get rid of me." And the mistress said to the cracked pot, "Look behind you, over which I carried that perfect pot." And the cracked pot looked behind and said, "Well, I see nothing on that path behind them. There's nothing, there's just dry land. That's why we go to the river." And the mistress said to the cracked pot, "Now look behind you over the ground over which I carried you." And when the cracked pot looked behind them, they saw that everywhere they had dropped water, wildflowers had grown. Beautiful flowers of every single colour, blue and pink and green and red. And the mistress said, you see, without you, I wouldn't have had all these beautiful flowers to look at every time I went to the river. So both of you are perfect, just in very different ways. And when I told that before Christmas, it was the first time I realized something about it I hadn't realized before. And it's what I think is kind of the moral of the story. So for me, the moral of that story is, if you've had a really rough year and you're feeling a bit broken and a bit old, look behind you and see all the wildflowers that you created along the way. And that is my version of the cracked pot.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
It's one of my favorite stories, and every time I tell it, I find different things in it. It's so little and so simple
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
beautiful. So yeah, I always tell it everywhere I go. And I don't think I've told it on here before. So that feels a nice way to finish the evening, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Did you
why
write
not?
that one, Justine?
No, it's a really old story. I think I first heard it from Taffy Thomas. So I think it's an
Oh,
Indian
Taffy,
story
yeah.
originally, yeah. But Taffy
Yeah.
was given it by an Indian storyteller. But it's in lots of places. Yeah,
It's universal, isn't it, really?
There's a lot of
yeah,
world traditions, yeah.
yeah, definitely. It is.
Yeah.
It's so lovely, though. I love the idea that they're both perfect in different ways. Everyone
Yes.
has
Yes.
their reason for being. Thank you so much for coming, guys. So we are back the first Wednesday of next month. Let me just check the date of that before I forget. So the
Fourth,
first Wednesday, the 4th, yes, the 4th of February.
May
Join
the
in the
4th
same
be
way.
with you.
May the 4th. Oh, I don't know if we're on May the 4th.
It's not May the 4th, is it? It's
May February the 4th be with you. But
That Sunday.
yes, so this Friday on World Storytelling Cafe, you've got Norman Perrin telling stories for children of all ages, and that's
That's
at
right.
6 o'clock. And
Yeah.
then a week on Sunday, so that's the 18th. There's a worldwide storytelling round which Mike Rust hosts, and that's from 6 o'clock until. How long does it go, Keith? I don't even know how long it lasts. Is it however long?
About an hour and a half or so. It depends just who
Depends who's
turns up, and
Who
yeah,
turns up? Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
But that's a 6 o'clock start, not a 7 o'clock start. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, yeah, so those are the ones we've got next coming up. There's probably another Friday in between. Normally Friday at 6, there's somebody telling tales, ostensibly for children, but children of all ages. Yeah, and then is it every 2 weeks or every month now, the worldwide storytelling round?
It's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Lovely. So next one's the 18th of January. So then I think there'll be us, and then there'll be the next one after that.
So
Thank
it's
Same
the
link.
world
Same
storytelling
link.
is stories only, is it, or does it accept songs?
I think Mike doesn't mind, does he?
No, you can include some poems and songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to,
Right.
it's very, very fluid. But yeah, no, bring a song because it's nice. I mean, this is called Tunes and Tales, so it's nice to have some
Well,
songs in it.
exactly.
'cause
Yeah.
It is. I'm always like, we need more singers. All my guitarist friends keep saying, oh, yeah, we'll definitely come, and they don't. But maybe next month I'll keep harassing them. That would be really good.
How about you sing yourself, Justine?
I do sing, yeah. And the thing
So,
is, it's like I haven't got that much that I can play on guitar that I haven't already played here. So I do need
ah,
to find some time between now and next month. Because you singing folk songs, they remind me how much I really love them. So, and I've got some ballads that I've sung kind of back in the
oh,
day.
great.
So I
Yeah,
might, and they're all kind of, tragic and people dying at sea and stuff, all the good stuff. So,
most of them do. Yeah,
yes.
there are one or two happy ending ballads.
Yeah, but they're no fun, are they?
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll see if I can drag up some ballads for next month because I do love them. Yeah, that would be really good. Fabulous stuff. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Waleed, for hosting. And we will see you all. If I don't see you before, I will see you all
Thank
next
you,
month on the
Waleed.
4th of February.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, guys. Thank you for all
Thank-
your sharing. Good night.
Bless
Bye.
you, Justine. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
New
Bye.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, same again.
Oh. And there we
Bye.
go.
Leave
Bye.
meeting.
Yeah, click the leave meeting thing.
That's what I'm just about doing. Oh, well, I was. They beat me to
They
it,
beat you
Justine.
to it. I'll